Hello, everybody. This is Paweł Kruk from Leon Software. I hope everybody can hear me. This is our first ever webinar in Leon Software, and hopefully it will be interesting for you. Just a short introduction. I'm CEO of Leon Software, and also with me there is our CTO, Paweł Szmagaj, participating in this webinar. And for those who don't know Leon Software, just short info, we are scheduling software provider for business aviation, airlines, and trip support companies. And this webinar is going to be about our new sales module, which we have been working on for 8 months. And I will cover quickly how you can benefit using this new module. For those who are our customers, we will strongly recommend to switch to the new module, and this module will be heavily developed further on. So let's jump straight into the topic. It will take about an hour. This webinar will take about an hour. I will quickly let you know why we developed this sales module, what is the setup process so you can start using it very quickly, how we can manage quotes, and what our plans for near future. So starting from why new Leon sales. We have been developing ops. We have refreshed ops around 2 years ago, and after we have successfully implemented this ops module to our customers, there was a time to do the same job for sales module, because the sales module was in old technology. So now we have been working, we have been rewriting the whole module to the new technology, and now the new module is completely robust and in new technology, which is the same as ops module. So that is the market expectations. We have a lot of feedback from our customers asking us for some improvements in sales. So we listened to our customers, and we just focused on that for last 8 months. Okay, now I will share the screen. Hopefully it will work, because this is actually the first time I'm doing this. I'm using this software, so forgive me if I misclick something. Okay, disable screen sharing, and now enable screen sharing. Yeah, okay. So as you can see, recently we have changed menu a little bit. So it's now reflecting a little bit more the typical workflow in every company. So sales is on the first, and it is the first process you do to process your trips. Then there is ops preparation, crewing, maintenance. So sales is on the first place right now. And the main screen is this one, when you can see a list of quotes. Actually, there are only 3 entries on this menu. You can see those entries highlighted with a little bit different background. So this is request/quotes, fleet, and fees. And this is all you need to access in order to start using the sales module. So first of all, we are connected, of course, to Avinode. We download quotes from Avinode, and you can also create quotes manually using this engine. And in order to start using our sales module, you need to first go to fees, this item here. And this will bring you another page with 2 sections, airport fees and aircraft fees. By the way, if you have any questions during this webinar, I cannot hear you, but you can type those questions to the interface, and our CTO will answer those questions. So please feel free to ask questions, and later on, when we have a little bit more time, I can cover and answer some of those questions, and maybe some of those also are possible to be answered in real time by our CTO. Okay, so airport fees is basically your cost table, and you can create as many cost tables as you want. So this is just a dummy cost table I have created for the purpose of this webinar, and it's just those are costs associated with particular airports, and you can decide what kind of cost elements you want to track. And the list of all possible cost elements is on the left. And if you want to include some element to the list, you can just drag and drop. Let's say night landing. So I just drag and drop it to the top, and now you can see there's a night landing. You can enter some figures here, and you can also use airport. You use ICAO codes, but you can use also some masks. So, for example, if you do not use anything, it will be a default cost associated with any airport, which is not defined later on. So, for example, if you would now quote for I don't know, Farnborough, because Farnborough is not on the list, then the default one would be picked up. If you would quote for example, Sheremetyevo, which is not here as well, but you can see there is a uniform asterisk, which means everywhere in Russia you have these kind of costs, let's imagine that. So those items would be used. And particularly if you would quote from Moscow, then Leon would take this line for quoting. It's pretty straightforward. It doesn't need to go. I mean, one important thing to note is that if you miss any kind of cost type on this list, we will be heavily working towards expanding this. So you can treat this as a starting point. If you feel we missed something, you can just let us know afterwards, and we'll try to improve that. If you move your mouse over any item, you will have a little bit more explanation about how this is calculated. For example, handling basic fee is based on number of landings. Catering fee is sum of all passengers on departure airports. And crew hotel fee is, for example, number of overnights outside home base, etc., etc. Actually, now we have been requested to distinguish between departing PAX fee and arriving PAX fee. So this will be divided into two separate sections. But this is, yeah, so we will improve on that for sure. You can name the whole table. The idea here is that typically costs are associated with maximum takeoff weight, so aircraft type. So you can create multiple tables to reflect those costs for multiple aircraft types. For example, I just created medium jet, but you can create, light jets, medium jet, whatever. For the time being, you need to enter everything from scratch, but we are working already also on duplicating those tables. So once you create one table, it will be easy to just copy and paste everything. So yeah, this is about airport fees. And once you have airport fees, you need to also define aircraft fees. And aircraft fees it's kind of similar concept. For example, I have created aircraft fees for virtual aircraft D Leon, and as well, you can decide what kind of elements you want to include in pricing. And for example, if you want to charge for preparation of flight plan, you can just include that. And also, if you move your mouse over this item, you will see explanation of how this is calculated. So for example, this is total number of legs multiplied then by this number. So let's say 200, whatever. And for example, this is calculated once per entire trip. This is per every block hour, which is ferry positioning flight. This is with passengers, and so on. And this is typically, you can create pricing for a particular tail or set of tails. For example, for Challenger 300. You might have, for brokers, you might have different pricing. For actually, you can create as many pricing as you want. And actually, this is the whole setup you need to do in order to use sales module. And although it sounds easy, I am aware that it's kind of a lot of work to enter manually all those figures, because this is the most demanding task. But once you are done with that, then you can benefit using sales. And so let's go to sales. We have this list of requests. As I said before, we are connected to Avinode. So for example, here you can see that these request is from Avinode, and you can see nobody is assigned to this quote, and you can see ID, and actually this ID is the same as in Avinode. So for example, if you are then if you want to search within your quote list in Leon, you can use Avinode ID because Leon assigned the same ID if the origin is Avinode. If you create quote manually in Leon, then we add this L dash before ID. So it's also an easy way to distinguish between Avinode ones and Leon ones. You can see status here. We have multiple statuses in a quoting process. I will cover that in a moment. And okay, of course, who requested that? What is the aircraft? The routing, also the quote itself. And if you have pricing defined, as I have described before, then this price will be automatically recalculated using Leon pricing engine. And so if you see the price without actually Avinode logo, actually everything is without Avinode logo, it means that Leon has recalculated the whole routing for you. But Avinode price is also visible. I will show you that in a moment. So let's say you have a new request. This is just, you are just looking at this list, and now you want to check this. So you click on this, and this is the main screen for quoting. First of all, as you can see, assignee is automatically assigned to this quote. I mean, I'm logged as Thomas Delta. It's just the user I'm using right now for this webinar. And if there is nobody associated to the request, then the one who entered this for the first time will be the one assigned. Here you can see the whole flow of quoting. So you have a new request, then you quote, you can reject, you can book the flight as an option, send a contract. I will cover that in a moment, and close the whole request. What you have on the left here is quoting itself. On the right, you have some properties of this quote. So, for example, here you can see calendar, and all those gray boxes are actually existing flights on the schedule, and those green ones this is your quote for this D-Leon aircraft. So you can instantly see if your quote is not colliding with anything you are flying already. So you can quickly assess if you can fly this route. You can click between UTC and local time. You can also change the aircraft. If for example, if you are colliding with existing flights, you can select other aircraft to see how that would be on the schedule of another aircraft. So, for example, if I would fly on G-Leon, then I can see I can still fly this routing. So let's go back to D-Leon. And yeah, as I said before, here you can see the price from Leon. It's 113,000 euro. I don't know it's realistic or not. It's just, as I said, dummy pricing structure. But as you can see, Avinode price is listed here on the right. So it's kind of different. But this is the reason. The reason of this huge difference is that I did not pay much attention into creating the pricing module, real prices. Yeah. So on the right also you can see a map. So you can see the whole routing here. If you select any leg, it's highlighted on in green, as you can see. Yeah, and this is for the moment before you actually book a flight as option or book it on the ops side. This is a checklist and passengers are not available. You need to first, I will cover that in a moment, at least book a flight as an option. There's also a place where you can create comments. For example, if you are a salesperson, then you might, this is just for internal usage. So for example, I want to comment, customer will call us in, I don't know, 6 hours to make final decision, whatever. It's just internal comment you can use, and You can comment multiple times. So if another person from sales will take over your process, then he will be aware of all things. On notes, oh, okay, I need to book a trip first. So okay, we have this new request. I'm sorry, I'm jumping a little bit, but it will be okay in a moment. So you have a new request, and let's say you want to quote this. So you just click on quote, and now this particular quote has been downloaded from Avinode. So in this particular example, you would send this to Avinode as your response. Of course, you can, before you're sending this quote, you can review the quote itself before, and you can see underneath there is a complete list of all items, and all airport associated items are expandable. So you can expand and see, for example, catering fee was not calculated for Warsaw, has been calculated 2 times for Lima Fox Papa Golf. I don't remember the airport, what is that? But anyway, this is Dubai, I guess. This is Charles de Gaulle, probably. Okay, anyway, we have passengers here. So you have this 50 euro. This is 0, no passengers. So you have 0. You can, of course, manually adjust whatever you want. You can change even names, everything. You can get rid of any item. You can add some item manually if you find it useful. So this is just the default way Leon calculate the quote, but at the end you can manipulate to your liking. And once you are done with this, you just send the quote. If the request wouldn't be from Avinode, then you would send an email. If you would click this quote, then Leon would pop up a window with the email template, and quote would be attached to the email. So let's say we have quoted this. Yeah, you have sent Avinode response. Then you can click save and back, and we are on the list again. And you can see the status has changed to quoted. I am assigned to this quote. This is the price. And of course, if you are working only on, for example, new not closed quotes, you can filter that to your liking here on this filter. And let's say your customer is now saying to you that, okay, he accepts the quote, but he's not sure if he's going to fly yet, but he will probably fly. So you might want to book the quote as an option. So ops guys will know that something is going to happen probably, but we are not sure yet. It's just, it's initial phase of booking before actually being sure that the flight is going to happen. You just need to click this option, and the whole trip should be saved as an option. Yeah, it has been saved as an option. And once you have this as an option, you can assign passengers, or you can assign different checklist items to this particular quote. By the way, we are working to make it available even before booking on the ops side. But for the moment, it is like that. You need to first book a flight as an option, at least, to have these checklists and passengers available. And by the way, if you want to, if you don't know exact schedule, you can use TBA, to be announced. Then you can leave it without hours of departure and arrival. So it's possible. We have just introduced this last week. And okay, let's go to passengers, for example. So let's say I'm flying on this routing. I don't know. I don't remember what we have in database here. Gamma Adams, whatever, just that. Even if you can select some passports. Okay, we don't have any passports here. We can select lead passenger, and yeah, and save. Also, you have this checklist available. The purpose of this checklist is that you can view, if we have, let's say we have booked already, we have option, but let's say we have a booking already. So you can see what is the status of preparation of the flight from the ops side. You cannot edit this because this is just for your viewing purposes. You are from sales, so you do not need to change anything, but you can change your own sales checklist. And of course, this checklist on the left, so the sales checklist, is the same checklist you have in ops section. You are probably familiar with. So exactly the same checklist is available from here, from sales, and you have ability to reflect your process here. Okay, so let's say your passenger is ready to fly, or actually he would like to receive contract. Then you just click contract, and now you can see an email template. And by the way, this template is fully configurable. I will show you that in a moment. You can choose how you would like this template to look like. And the document has been generated automatically. If you click on this, you will have, I don't know. Now I'm not sharing this screen. Just a second. Yeah, I will need disable screen sharing for a moment, enable screen sharing, and just change the window. Because, yeah, I guess, yeah, this is just the default PDF, but it's also fully configurable in Leon, and I will cover that in a moment. So enable screen sharing again, and Leon request quotes again. Yeah, this one. So yeah, so you can click on this link to see this PDF. You can send this, or you do not need to send this. When you click contract, it will automatically open this window, but it doesn't mean you need to send this. Actually, you can just close it. You know, you will still change the status. You can send this email manually. I mean, there is no reason to send it manually, but and when you click on any status, you can always, when you, for example, book, there's no window actually here on book, but if you click, for example, brief, and just close the window, it will still remain brief. So, okay, let's go back to the contract. We have sent the contract. Now, if your customer is going to fly, you just need to book a flight. So change the status to book. And in this particular moment, your ops department should start preparing the flight. They are sure about that the flight is going to happen. So all the documents are being prepared and so on. But still, you can have some, of course, last-minute changes, right? So your customer can let you know that he is going to depart earlier, later. You can always change this schedule and then click book again, because if you change the schedule, it is not permanently linked to the ops side. Once you book a quote, Leon will copy this quote to the ops side. But if you later on, once you have booked it already, if you want to change it, and if you change anything here, then you need again to click book in order to transfer this new information to the ops side. So this is the one thing to remember. And then you can send the briefing once your flight is prepared, and just close the deal. And yeah, this is the basic flow of how you can process the quote. And let's go back for a moment. I would like to show you something more, because this is just a typical quote, but we have also integrated with airport charges. I don't know if you know the company Airport Charges, but we just finished integration with them. So you can see your airport charges, so parking costs and some other costs related to particular airports, calculated by them. You need to have a separate agreement with them, but they have a special offer for Leon customers, so you can just contact them and have some more details. But in general, you can see right now we have only we have a test environment, so this is not the real data, but still you can see some costs, right? For example, on this leg, costs associated with Paris is this amount, and with Dubai this amount. You can click on this and just see exactly what are those elements associated with airport charges. For the moment, we do not anyhow transfer those calculations into our quoting mechanism. This is going to be introduced soon. So it's just, for the moment, it's just for your information about what are those prices. What are those prices there? So later on, we will make it, we'll make probably some kind of button, so you will have ability to transfer these figures into the quote. Yeah, so I guess airport charges is something you can try, definitely. And one more information about this quoting is that you can quote, of course, multiple tails. So for example, if you have an initial quote for D Leon, you can create another aircraft quote. Let's say, okay, your customer asked about D Leon, but I can say I would like to quote for G Leon. Now you can see, again, I have this calendar, this overlapping schedule, and I can now add positioning legs. Just click add positioning legs, and now you can see positioning legs has been added. Okay, so and I need to create a quote. So I click add quote, and the pricing automatically has been imported, and I have the quote of 87,000 euros for that. You can recalculate the whole quote using different pricing profiles. This is important because there is one default, but you can change to another one. By the way, I'm sorry, I'm jumping a little bit, but default pricing and default airport charges associated with every tail is defined here under the fleet. So yeah, I will show you that, because that's something I actually missed, but it's really straightforward. You just go to fleet and then edit any aircraft, for example, D Leon, and you can set what is the default airport pricing profile and what is the default aircraft pricing profile. And this is it. It is just the default one, so it doesn't mean you cannot use another one. But the aircraft profile, you can choose which aircraft profile you want to use, but for airport profile you cannot do this. You need to have one airport profile associated with particular tail. Okay, so we have two different quotes actually for one request, and for the moment it is possible only to send quote for one aircraft at a time. We'll modify that shortly, so you will be able to send one email with multiple quotes. But for the moment, we have this logic where you need to select which quote is the one you are using. So for example, the one you are using right now is D Leon, but if you click on G Leon and click on use this quote, then Leon knows that if you book a flight as an option or as confirmed flight, this particular flight will be then transferred to the ops side. We'll make it easier. I will not go into details how it's going to be, but it will be much easier. There will be some checkboxes to select which quote you want to send to your customer or book. So it probably in a month will be ready. But for the moment, it is like that. So you can have multiple quotes per one request. And then if you go again to request page, you can see that on this list, you have those two available. Okay, so let's say we have booked, right? We already have booked this flight. Now, actually, I have booked probably a G Leon, so I did a mistake. Okay, because previously I have booked D Leon, now I have booked G Leon, so we have now two schedules. For the moment, if you change the quote from one to another and previously booked another one, the previously booked schedule will remain in offsite, so you need to delete it by hand. Later on, we can link this somehow to make it automatic, but for the moment, booking is just transferring information from sales to ops, and later on, it will not delete this. Ops guys need to delete that. Okay, now so we have everything quoted, and now actually you can click on this show on schedule, and you will be redirected to the ops side, and you can see this particular trip on ops section. You can go back using browser back, and you're back on sales side. This is the main flow you can use in Leon. Now I should also mention that you can always print manually some documents if you don't want to use this flow, and for any reason you want to print documents like charter agreement, flight brief, or flight quotation. You can always just click on those items, and here from document menu, and you will open another window with PDF, and later on you can save on your disk or send it manually. Or if you want to send an email without changing this status, you can also click on this send email, and also you can select what kind of document you want to send, or you can send empty email as well without attaching any document. So this is useful if you want to, kind of, I don't know, make an additional email, or just skip using this flow. So okay, let's say we have a closed deal, and now this is the way it should look on the screen. It should disappear because actually it will not disappear because I have closed also selected. But for example, if I would just filter out closed, then you see the list closed. Of course, you can search. If you have like hundreds of those quotes, you can then search using this search input for a customer name, for a code, for ID, for routing, for airport, or whatever. For example, if you want to find some particular quote, let me check. For example, yes, we have this ID here, so it's easy to find using IDs or requesters or something like that, or routing. It's available. Also, you can create, of course, quote manually. Then you just create a quote, new quote. Then you can say who is requester. Now everything is manually, because if you have Avinode, then you can do it. It's automatically imported from Avinode. Now you need to create routing by hand and enter all those information manually. I will not go into for this entire process. It's exactly the same as you saw with Avinode, but you can create quotes manually as well. And you can select what is the source of this request. Because, for example, if Avinode is the source of the quote, then you have this Avinode information marketplace Avinode selected, and you cannot change it because it's linked with Avinode. But if you have another source, like, for example, different marketplace, or Leon itself, or whatever, then you can select different source for the quote, and exactly go with the entire process. So now I will show you a little bit how you can configure those documents and emails. It's also very easy. If you are administrator in Leon, you can go to these settings, and you have two icons here. One is email templates, another one is document manager, and both are useful for customizing your correspondence with your customers. So first of all, if you go to email templates, you can see you have charter agreement, flight brief, flight quotation. Just please ignore this CA, FB, FQ. It's just development stuff. It will be just usually charter agreement, let's say English, charter flight brief English. You can have multiple languages if you want. For example, if you click on charter agreement, then here is the configuration window. And you can create a template using your data from quotes. I know it looks a little bit scary, but actually we can help on that. It's just some scripting language here you can use. If you have anybody in your organization who is IT, who understands Twig, it's a scripting language for doing this stuff on our side, then he will easily do it for you. Probably. It's also, you can just experiment with this, and you will learn how to do this. It's just, you can create any subject. using the quote parameters. So for example, in our case, if you want to send a contract, you will have contract, your tail, the date of the first leg, and then routing. It's just, and this is actually the script fragment to create this subject. Also for body, you can see we have another script telling that the quote request name should be inserted here. So as you can see, this is the email. Of course, you can edit the email before sending it out, but it's very useful to have a template. And exactly the same, you can modify flight brief and flight quotation in exactly the same way. So yeah, we just inserted some default items here, but it's just, yeah, it's straightforward. If you need any help on that, just please contact our support, and we will be happy to help you. If you don't know how to change this, if you like to have a different topic, different whatever, then our support will help you on that. And with Document Manager, it's exactly the same, but for documents, so you can create PDFs to your liking. Exactly, it's the same mechanism. It's a preview on the right. You can define how this document should look like. It's probably easy to just, as you can see, you can modify it by yourself. But if you like to have different table, different structure, it's just HTML. Again, somebody from IT would help you for sure. And if you need any help, you can also let us know, and we will help you, tailor that to your liking. Yeah. So this is it, I guess. More or less, it is the whole sales module. We will for sure implement some new features very, very soon. I encourage you to try it out. It should be fully, usable. You should be able to quote. You should be able to process your quotes. If you miss anything, just please let us know. But I will now like to let you know what we are planning to do in near future. What is already in development, you probably are also interested in. So just a moment. Yeah, I will again disable screen sharing and enable screen sharing. Again, share. Yeah, and now let's see. Yeah, so subcharters, it's a big topic. We are heavily developing that. For the moment, you need to select which tail you are going to fly, right? But sometimes you want to fly subcharter, and then you need to enter crew manually. You need to enter some legal notes because you want to create a contract for your customer, including probably some legal notes from your subcharter company. You need to enter tail registration, aircraft type, and so on. For the time being, it's not possible in Leon. You need to create some dummy aircraft in Leon, which is it's not going to be like that. We will very soon make it. I will tell you exactly why, how. It's very straightforward. Again, from share. Yes. So if you go to quoting page. Here on the list of aircraft, you will have a special entry subcharter. If you select subcharter, you will have additional tab here, like airport charges. There will be additional subcharter, and within this subcharter tab, you will be able to set to specify registration, aircraft type, crew names, and some legal notes. And then when you want to send a document, you will be able to have a different template for subcharter type of flight than your typically what you typically send if you are performing this flight by yourself. So we'll have two different templates. And the second template for subcharter will include those information from this tab, and you will be able to configure that as well. And this is within 1 month for sure, we will have this. So stay tuned. The second thing is feasibility check, which is also under heavy development. I think within 1 month as well, we will have this ready. And we will have just additional icon here. If you add any routing, then Leon will automatically check if you can fly this flight because we'll check for airport opening hours. Actually, for all items we can check. Let me quickly show you. On the sales side, on the ops side, you have these warnings and cautions and notices, and then probably, for example, flights collided will be checked. Airport category U or P, so unsigned or prohibited. Aircraft max range exceeded. Crew incomplete. I don't know. Whatever we can check, we will check. So you will have at least some warnings and cautions, and exactly the same like you have in ops side. So we'll display this in 3 possible ways. Either you will have a red warning, which is usually no-go, or you need to address it quickly, and yellow, which will tell you that might be some issue there, you need to check. There will be an icon here telling you if everything is okay or not okay. So this is also coming very, very soon. And the third thing we are going to introduce very, very soon is also multiple quote, better handling multiple quotes. As I previously told you, you can already create multiple quotes, but it's not the perfect way how you then communicate the quotes to your customers. So we'll get rid of this stop using quote and use quote. Instead, if you click quote, then Leon will ask you which quote you want to send to your customer. You just click on the checkboxes and then just hit send, and Leon will send email with all those quotes to your customers at once. And also, if you want to book a flight, then Leon will ask you which quote you actually want to book. And then you will be able to select the one you want to book. Yes, of course, we are going to introduce many more features here, but I don't want to be too, too detailed on that. I would like to focus on those really important ones. Also, if you will, by the way, if you change date of departure, date of arrival will be automatically changed, and minor issues like that. So now I will go back to the screen, and oh, you have a lot of questions here. So I can answer some questions, I guess, because I think I have covered more or less how you can deal with sales in our new module. I don't want to be very detailed on that, just to make it this webinar within 1 hour. And I think I can answer some questions. So let me review those questions. Okay. Simon has asked, what about setting different pricing profiles per month and registration? Well, this is not available right now. Pricing is attached by default to aircraft tail and is not dependent on timing. So as I understand, you want to tweak your pricing profiles for the peak season and change the pricing, right? So for the moment, you need to create multiple pricing profiles and then manually change the default one. If, for example, if you hit summer season, or if you want to increase prices somehow, then yeah, it's for the moment it's manually. I don't know if it will be heavily requested feature, then we might create some automation there. It's always tricky, to create a lot of automation, because at the end, it's sometimes this automation can be tricky. But of course, this is possible. I mean, I don't see any reason we cannot do this. It's just about if there is demand on that. I think also we will need to include, because right now pricing profiles, as you can see, airport fees are your cost. But aircraft fees is just your total price to your customer. And for the moment when you are quoting, you don't know your real cost, right? I mean, you quote your flight, and let's say your customer is saying, can you fly, I don't know, 1,000 euro cheaper. And actually, you don't know if you can fly 1,000 euro cheaper, because you don't know what is your price. So we will introduce as well 2 types of pricing. The one I have just shown you, it's typically for aircraft owners if you want to make it simple, but other one where you can, instead of on aircraft pricing, you will have your costs, not your price to your customer, and then you will apply your margin. So eventually, you will be able to create exactly the same final price, but you will have information about what is your cost and what is your actually profit there, and you will be able to switch between those two kind of pricing profiles. This is something we will develop for sure. Okay, another question. Cannot see this question in full. How to expand this? Okay, somebody answered on that. Again, can you just show how to put manually new request quote? Okay, Daniela asked about manually putting quote. I think I have covered that, but just quickly, you just need to go to request quotes and then click new quote and just create your quote, and that's it. I mean, I think it's straightforward. I will not go into details. You can just use this button. I see that the overnight fees are specified per airport and not per aircraft. Is it possible to set an overnight fee per registration instead of the airport fees? You can check it on the calendar when. Okay, it's already answered as well. So yes. Okay, that's a lot of questions actually. I think I will need to make a dedicated sessions with you. If we don't use Avinode but another system, will we be able to add this request manually? Yes, it's exactly the same as I have shown before. Manually, you can actually, if you have a request, because we have two. I would say entities here. One is request for quotes, which we call RFQ, and another one is quote itself. So when you see this list, this is the list of your RFQs, so request for quotes, and those on the right are quotes actually. If you don't have anything here, so you did not download anything from Avinode, and you create a quote, then Leon, and you create the whole routing here, the Leon will assume that your routing, the routing accept positioning legs are actually request for quote. So it will be automatically transferred to this list. Yeah, I don't know if I'm clear on that, but I hope I am. Can I add fees per leg per hour? For example, first Canyon asked about this. For the moment, it's not possible, but we have another request for these. For sure, we will add this because this feature has been requested by another customer as well. Also, we will need to add Italian luxury tax because this is also an item we do not have for the moment. We designed this as flexible as possible on this fees module. So, as I said before, if you think we miss anything here, it's more or less easy. It's quite easy for us to add those items here. So if you know how to calculate this either on this screen or on the other one, so for aircraft fees. Also, we can create items quite easily here. So this list will be expanded. The purpose of this webinar is also to trigger you a little bit. I know it's not perfect yet. It's the first time we release this module, but as I said, we'll be quickly filling gaps of anything here. So one of these gaps is for sure ability to enter different pricing for first hour of flight, for second hour of flight, for third hour of flight, and for fourth hour of flight. We have also a request for things like, for example, if you want to have your aircraft to be utilized at least 4 hours a day, and your quote is, not exceeding that. For example, you are flying only 2 hours per day. You have a quote like that, but you will be able to quote like you would be flying 4. So in order to make sure that you are utilizing your aircraft in a minimum way. So this is also something we will include to the pricing profile. It's somehow related to this question, I guess. Okay, I think I'm done. I mean, I'm happy. I managed to do it within 1 hour. I was curious if I'm going to make it possible, but yes, I think everything you would like to know about more about sales, of course, you can email our support. We will be really concentrating on this, so we'll be happy to hear your feedback. And the current sales module in Lyon will be discontinued probably in, I don't know, in half a year or something. So we will help users to switch to the new module if they are using the old module in Lyon. And Stephanie just asked, oh no, it's just scrolling. So yeah, another webinar we are going to probably introduce will be about crew panel, which is also a new feature, which we would like to introduce this feature to our customers as well. It's much more powerful than our existing crew duties page, but we'll know for sure, 2 weeks before or something like that. So, well, thank you very much for attending this webinar, this first ever webinar in Lyon. If there's going to be some feedback, and if you like this, please let us know. We will be happy to create webinars around different topics very soon. And now I should make it in order to thank you for watching. Okay, thank you very much, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.